Hey there friends, and welcome to Laugh Napkin. My name is Frank, and today we're looking at 3 stories from r/PettyRevenge. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. I was a server for a while at an Italian restaurant. A group of teenagers came in, very clearly a sports team of some kind. I don't expect much in the way of tip from them because teenagers, but that's never stopped me from giving good service. They're rowdy AF. Constantly making me run back and forth for every little thing they could think of, just being all around D-bags. I noticed a few of them had taken off their coats. When it came time for the bill, they asked me to get a pitcher of water for them to share before they left, so I did. And when I got back, they were all gone, without paying. Awful, right? Except these absolute morons forgot they were wearing their jackets that said local high school wrestling team. You bet I immediately called that school. You bet I told everyone I talked to that the team had stolen from the restaurant. You bet when my step-uncle showed up and told them they stole from his niece, that every single one of their lives were made more miserable for the rest of the season. I was okay with that. I also got paid for that check and a 40% tip. Edit. Because I'm also a moron, I forgot to explain that my step-uncle was the wrestling coach at that high school. Looks like we have an entire group of r/stories about Kevin here. I bet that about half these dummies will end up doing this again. And speaking of r/stories about Kevin, it's coming guys. It's coming soon. So just a little bit of context. My parents do not approve of me playing video games, and they've made that clear. Even though I tell them that just because I'm on my computer, it doesn't mean I'm playing video games, they don't really listen. I would understand them if my life was absolute garbage, but in reality, I've got a full-time job over the summer with good pay. And afterwards, I'm moving out to go back to the top-rated university in my country. So I wouldn't exactly say video games have ruined my life. Anyways, one day I get home and log onto my computer, but my Steam and Discord wouldn't connect. I thought at first the servers may be down, but they weren't. I used mobile data to ask my friends what was up, and they said everything was fine. After digging around a bit, trying to reset the internet router, changing from static IP to dynamic, etc., I finally figured out what it was. My mother had put a child safety lock on the internet modem. Yup, child safety. The purpose of this lock is to prevent your kids from going on dangerous sites, or sites they shouldn't be on. My mother did this as she saw she could choose to block video game sites, so she immediately pounced on that. What she didn't realize, however, is that since this is a child safety filter, stuff like prawn sites would also get blocked. And as a single 18-year-old, this was kind of a problem for me. I asked my mother if she'd done anything with the internet, and she told me she'd blocked video game sites so I could go outside and do something more productive, which was exactly what I'd expect. Instead of going out and doing whatever the hell non-gamers do, I went into my router settings to see if I could change it back, but I couldn't, as the safety lock was done from her email account. Our router is Virgin Media and her account owns it. I thought that I couldn't do anything about it, until I realized my parents know next to nothing about how the internet works. So what I did was went back into my router settings, then dug through the options to see what I could do. At first I was thinking I should put my router into modem mode, which basically stopped any Wi-Fi connections, and internet only went through Ethernet connections, which at the time, only my PC was connected to. But I decided against this, as it would arouse suspicion as all my family had no connection, but I did. Instead, I decided to go to the Mac filtering settings, and found the address of all the devices that are connected to our network. It was easy to find the devices they were connected to, as my family all uses iPhones, which basically have a name next to the address saying person's phone. so I blocked the connection on all of them before they got home. Then when they did get home, I simply unplugged the Ethernet cable from my PC. My parents soon realized that something was up with the internet, and they asked me about it. I just came up with some BS excuse like, "That filter you put on must have bugged out. I can't connect to any site at all." And they believed it. So as soon as my mother turned off the filter again, I quickly unblocked the MAC addresses and huzzah! Video games were back, and they never knew a thing. They actually tried turning the filter back on again, twice. I don't know if they'd forgotten or something, or maybe they just thought that the problem they had before was suddenly fixed. But every time they re-enabled it, I just did the same method, made up some excuse, and every single time they believed it. So that was my petty revenge story. Am I an a-hole for doing it? I don't know. In either case, I'll be moving out next month so I can finally gain control of the internet. Because, you know, I'm paying for it and stuff. So, OP, let's get real here. Were you more upset about the video games? Or the, you know? I think we all know the answer to that. Video games of freaking course. Gotta murk some freaking noobs for the win. So I live in a suburban area of a fairly large city, renting a basement suite with a friend. I moved into this spot recently, and would say I'm a pretty chill person to live around. I work full time and go to classes, so I'm rarely home, so basically never disruptive. One important thing about this neighborhood is that it has no driveways, but street parking is plentiful, and it's never hard to find a spot within steps from your home on either side of the street. I've been often parking directly across the street from my place, as that way I don't have to turn around when I get home, and there's always been a spot in front and behind me. I tend to only drive my car about once a week, and getting into it this morning, I noticed multiple notes. The first, a full page tucked under my wiper blades, read, "Be a good neighbor. Park on your side of the street like you told us." What the hell? I just moved into this neighborhood, and have certainly never spoken to anyone on the street. Also, strange and unsettling that they would know I live on the other side of the street, as that means they've watched me leave my car, and I tend to only drive really late since I work the night shift. Since apparently I didn't respond quickly enough to their first note, they then left a second. A series of question mark post-its on my windshield. I think whatever, probably just an over-controlling old person. It's no big deal for me to turn around and park on the other side. I park on the correct side of the street, wanting to avoid confrontation. Until the other night. I had gotten off late from work, pull into my street, park, and hop out of the car before I totally registered that I didn't turn around. At this point, it's 1:30 a.m. and I'm like, whatever. I'm sure it won't affect anyone. I'm wrong. The next morning there was an even more passive-aggressive sticky note on my windshield, calling me inconsiderate and disrespectful. Cool. I can do that. I have a membership to a car sharing service in the city. How it works is you can unlock a car from an app, pay by minute that you drive, then park it and leave it in allowable zones. One such zone is on my street. I decide I'm going to do a little commute home and find every car within walking distance from me. One by one, I rent each car, driving to my street and parking it directly across from my house. By the time I'm done, within a quarter block there is a series of rental cars, taking all the north side spots. Of course, I left lots of spaces directly across the street, so there was plenty of space to park. I hope my neighbors love their parking options on the public streets. So let me try out this method with you guys. Be a good viewer and do exactly as I say. Like this video, subscribe, and share this video with your friends like you said you would do when you clicked on this video. If you don't, then you're all just inconsiderate and disrespectful. Oh yeah, I know this will be effective. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Also, I found a super cool website that allows you to buy me a coffee, so I signed up for it. And you know what my favorite part about it is? It's coffee. I freaking love coffee. So be a good freaking neighbor and buy me a cup. Honestly though, no pressure. I don't expect any of you guys to support me. I still love you guys either way. You just keep doing you, and I'll see you in the next video.